Robinson's Requiem from Silmarils. I've talked plenty about the game already, how the different versions work and all that, and I'll be giving my final thoughts on the game after I've beaten it. So if you weren't here yesterday, if you haven't seen any streams, you haven't seen this game before, it's a survival simulation game. We did a playthrough where we just died of malaria because I didn't know how to deal with that. And our second playthrough was awesome. I didn't want to like restart the playthrough entirely because I felt like we did everything correctly. So I got 2 hints because you need to get like 20 sesames to beat the game, and we were missing 2. And there were basically like 2 places on the map that I hadn't checked. Like it was a body in a cave that I hadn't found, and another body in a complicated spot. So I just got hints like there's a body in this cave and there's a body in this region. And I spent a while trying to find, and I did eventually find those. So I got like 2 hints, just like general locations for the missing sesames, and even that took some work. Because I had to like get a list from the handbook of all the Robinsons with their names and then cross out the ones that I had found to see which ones I was missing. Then I found out that one of the Robinsons is not listed on the handbook for some jacked up reason. But yeah, I got like 2 small hints to figure everything else. I did manage to figure out. We played the game for over 10 hours, so like 13 maybe. Yeah, like I said, I'll give you guys my full thoughts on the game later. But the reason we didn't beat this yesterday, we did everything, we got to the final sequence. And the final sequence is literally putting all the 20 sesames into a computer. It unlocks a door. I knew where the door was, I knew how to get to the door. But every time I was getting there, the game crashed. And the game was somehow managing to kill my entire computer along with it. And it's running on a separated emulated machine. I don't know what it was doing. Anyway, I've updated my checklist before the stream. Now every time before I stream, I'm restarting the computer just to make sure I cleared out any weirdness like that. Because my computer was slowed down for some reason after this stream. I still had to restart. So I couldn't fix it on stream because I didn't know what I had to test. I tried to run it on DOSBox, then I remembered that I just got an error message. So I ended the stream yesterday, and what I did was I got the GOG version. This game is available on GOG. That version crashes on startup half the time. Because of the cycles, the game runs too fast. But even when I did get it running slowly, it got the same crash. So it's not my setup, it is the game that was crashing. So then I tried to remember the error message the game gave me. It was in French, of course. Because the game is French, the error message is also in French. It talked something like, my French is like horrible, but I could read something like too many entities alive or some leftover entity alive or whatever. Which was the same, every time we got a crash, it was a message like that. And then what I did was, I tried a few things. What worked out for me was I slept. Then I did a lap around the map. Now if you were here yesterday, you know we didn't have much water. So I had to be quick. Whatever I was trying to do, I had to be quick about it because we were gonna run out of water. I did a lap around the map and I found a single robot that I had skipped and not killed. I killed the robot. Hello there, crab meats. I killed that one robot, I saved the game, and I tried to do the sequence and it worked without crashing. So we're gonna be reloading from a save game that is exactly where I left off yesterday. The only difference is that one of the enemies in the map is dead, one that was alive before. And it worked. Like, I did get the start of the ending cinematic. I skipped it, of course. I want to watch it on stream. I'm gonna see the ending together. And yeah, once again, apologies if you missed this yesterday. like because I couldn't finish it. But we'll be finishing it right now. It's gonna be a very short segment, which is why I'm delaying this, just to give people time to get here, in case they want to watch it. But I think I've delayed enough. Let's move over here. Here. Yeah, 13 hours to beat the game. That was like 2 full playthroughs, a lot of loading and saving. If I hadn't done a lot of loading and saving, it would have taken like more attempts than it did. It's okay, you're here now. I know, yeah, there you go. Everyone, Kradmitz has arrived. We can finally play. Thank you for joining us. So I got... Hopefully it doesn't crash, but it didn't crash yesterday. So, by the way, the game creates a directory called Robinson on the C drive, because it runs straight from the CD like a moron. It creates a directory called Robinson on the C drive, and it's empty. All the save files are on the root folder. That's jacked. That's horrible. Like, I don't care because it's a virtual machine or whatever, but back then I would have been pissed. Anyway, this one I typed game M because I had L before it, and I'm using letters because this thing doesn't let numbers. And I typed a bit too fast. The game missed a letter, so it became game. Whatever. So you guys better pay attention, because this is gonna be very quick. Okay, we're not taking long at all here to beat the game. So we take the last sesame, which is our own. We put it into the computer. And that's the alarm, because everything's going to explode. And now we have to navigate without a map, because the map was on our computer. We got rid of the computer. Just now. This segment, I don't know why it was so difficult to navigate yesterday. But when I was trying to fix the crashes, I never died on the lava there. I don't know why I spent 30 minutes dying to the lava. And unless this thing decides to like just make a fool of me in front of everyone, it shouldn't crash. I think I remember the way. We can't look at the map. Again, we don't have the computer anymore. And I'm pretty sure it's this way. Which is going to lead to the door that is closed when you look at it. Did I go the wrong way? I think I went the wrong way, everyone. Not having the map does that. As you guys can see, it did not crash. It is the second to the right. I thought we had been to one already. I'm getting stuck on the terrain, because the terrain, this game sucks. Okay, is this it? No, it is. No, it is. That door is closed. It didn't open before, now it does open. And here's the ending, everyone. Revealing music. There is us, I presume. Running very slowly because the whole place is gonna blow up. Music, everyone. Is that Nina? Three dimensions, yes. This is like one of the worst endings ever. I didn't touch anything. Can I enter doesn't do anything. Space, escape, clicking the mouse. I'm gonna press the Control X, which is supposed to quit the game. No, it locks up your computer, everyone. GG. End timer. Computer is locked up. Okay, that was depressing. I can't believe this. The genericness. I can't believe, like, not even drop to DOS prompt, it literally just freezes the computer. I'm gonna do it again. I can't believe it. Let's turn the computer off because obviously there's nothing else we want to do with the computer now that we have it. Yeah. Just rip it off the wall and throw it in the garbage. You don't need the computer anymore. It would work for like 90% of the games. 50% of the games made in the 90s. Maybe, yes. I'm gonna have to do that again because that was... like, whatever, it's the ending, like, most people won't see it anyway, but still. Like, we didn't even get more dialogue with Nina, we're just, okay, we're escaping together, please face away from the camera because you're a generic 3D model. That was... yeah, 13 hours and 1 minute to beat the game. Which is a good length, actually, considering how obtuse the game can get at times. I'm quite happy with the results. Biggest problem, of course, is still the terrain. So it's not that entrance. If I'm not mistaken, it's this one. Like, at least we got music. I wonder if you have music disabled if this is entirely silent. Because when I was testing this, I just saw this part of the cinematic before the stream. And I closed everything. I couldn't skip it. Like, you can't skip the cinematic. Like, doesn't matter what you press, it plays. And I think it continues to not allow you... I think it just locks the keyboard out and that's it. And this is reused from the intro anyway. It just has one more person sitting down. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you can, it locks up the computer, that's it. It wasn't a fluke. That's how it's supposed to go. Alright, I'm just gonna close this and hopefully my stream doesn't crash like it did yesterday. It should be fine, the game didn't actually crash. Yeah, I can close it fine. Yeah, it was the game screwing everything up yesterday. Like I said, it was short, but I expected credits at least, not even credits. Anyway, time to give my thoughts on this game. The game is good. Like, the cinematics are... The intro and AD cinematics are nothingness, whatever. The live vector segments, they're good, except the English audio is already jacked. The audio works fine in French. Whoever did the recording in English that didn't know what they were doing. Now, of course, as I always say, the game is very janky, but it's janky for a good reason. They're trying things that were original at the time. I have a lot of respect for that. That's the kind of jankiness I can get behind. I feel like the biggest problem is literally the terrain. The terrain has two problems. One of them is only on the DOS version, which is how the terrain looks. The voxel rendering gives you two problems. One is that it's difficult to see like where lava is, where the quicksand is, where the passageways you can walk over are, because the rendering is a bit messed up. But the biggest problem that it does is because it's voxel, it does this thing where it's layered, which works really well for giving you the impression of like, oh, this is like vegetation, and it's covering stuff up because it's vegetation. It's very, very fancy for the time, but it adds visual clarity that makes it very difficult to see items. The first playthrough we lost it because I literally didn't see the medkit. Like, medkit was mushed in the rest of the terrain, I couldn't see it. Now that's one problem. But the biggest problem with the terrain is like navigating it, the collision, the slopes, the heights of everything. We kept getting stuck on plain sections. I wonder if it's different on the other versions because they don't use voxel rendering, or if the walking on the terrains is still the same issue. I don't know. I don't have the other versions prepared to take a look at them. But I would be interested in checking that out sometime. So those are the problems with the game. Now, some people might complain about how obscure and difficult it is to figure things out. I think that's not a fair complaint. I think that's part of the fun of the game. Like, we figured out how to boil water, we figured out how to cook meat. We never figured out how to fish, which would have been interesting. And we kept carrying stuff that we didn't have to, which made us heavy. But like, you start figuring out how the diseases work and how to treat yourself. And of course there's a limit to medication that you can take. Welcome in, Sabotage. You just missed one of the most anticlimactic endings to any game ever. And the game just... If I know how to pass it, I just stealthed through it. I assume that's the solution, because it gives you just enough space to stealth by it. But yeah, like, mechanically the game is genius for its time, and it's a lot of fun mechanically. Like, dealing with the items, trying to craft stuff, like figuring that stuff out is very good. The combat is fine. It reminds me of dungeon crawlers of the time, where you just like go in, stab, pull back, go in, stab, pull back, which is fine. I like doing that. Aiming is bullshit. That's like a third thing that I have a problem with. It's the ranged weapons. They're bullshit to aim with because the mouse sensitivity is broken or something. But overall the game is really good. It's fun. Figuring things out is a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of visual variety with the enemies and the biomes. I really liked how the canyon looked, and the rain, and the fact that you could look outside of the cave and see what time of day it was. And the whole thing, like, I'm not the biggest fan of having like limited resources in a game. Like, at one point you would run out of antibiotics if you took too long to finish the game, and then you would have to start from the beginning. I find that to be a bit frustrating, but they did give you a generous amount of stuff, especially if you are save scumming, which I obviously did. You have to create a Molotov cocktail using the vodka bottle. I had a whiskey bottle, is that it? Several ingredients crafted with knife from cave walls. Oh, I did see those things on the cave walls. I did try to get them. I never considered scraping them. Use a cocktail to kill a Triceratops in the desert who's guarding a crashed ship. Out of the ship you take out a barrier, attach some wires. Holy shit, how are you supposed to... Yeah, the game doesn't... Whiskey bottle, okay. I mean, all of that is amazing. It sounds amazing, but the game doesn't give you any hints to any of that. So I feel like being able to stealth around the robot is kind of like intentional. Like if you don't figure out, you have like... I want to be optimistic and think that they did good game design decisions and they were just like, okay, if they can't figure out that you can scrape this crap off the walls and craft this stuff and do this and do that, at least you can still beat the game. I wouldn't be entirely surprised. Kagu did require the flare gun. And again, the game doesn't give you any hints. And you have to use the flare gun, not shoot it with the flare gun, which was kind of dumb, I guess. Took me a while to figure that out. But overall, the game is amazing. Considering how cryptic it is, how little it tells you, I think that beating it with just 2 hints was a decent feat. I'm satisfied with that. And that's the word for this game. As annoying as navigating the terrain was and just dying on the rapids, trying to raft down, or just like getting stuck on the water and just sneezing 500 times a second. Sometimes just like a machine gun of sneezing and death. Besides all of that, the game is very satisfying. Figuring things out in the game is satisfying. Yeah, thank you for the congratulations, Baka. But yeah, I think this game does deserve... I'm not gonna give it 2 thumbs up, I'm gonna give it 1.5, just because of the terrain. Like, the terrain makes it very annoying, so I'm gonna give it 1.5 thumbs, which is good by my standards. And I'm gonna deem it really interesting and satisfying shit.